in utero, the first way that we're able to learn and process information before our brains are formed is through the gut. Okay, and this makes our mothers, the people who are carrying us, our vehicle into this world. It makes it really important that whatever they are experiencing while they are pregnant with us, and I spoke about this a little bit in my previous webinar, very, very impactful on our own emotions and how we manage them, right? Because we are learning through our mothers how to feel about certain things that are happening. So if your mother, when she was pregnant with you, had a very difficult life at the time, she was experiencing lots of stress, if she went through or experienced a traumatic situation, which unfortunately many pregnant women do, then it's highly likely that you're born with a somewhat dysregulated nervous system. Now, this isn't to say that you can't change. Neuroplasticity tells us that it's the ability for the brain to change and grow, and so that there is hope that we can change and grow and learn new practices. But if you are ever wondering why you handle things the way that you do, why you feel the emotions the way that you do, you can often look to that time in utero and maybe see what was going on, if it's safe for you, if it feels comfortable and doable for you to find out what was going on during your mom's pregnancy and shortly before you were born. I know for me specifically, my parents lived in the city here in San Francisco, but they moved to the suburbs before I was born. But my dad wanted me to be born in San Francisco. He was kind of kooky that way. So my mom had to drive, the 45 or so, if there was traffic, more minutes from the suburb in Concord, where I ended up, where I grew up, but back to the city to give birth. And I remember her telling me that when she was in labor and she got to San Francisco, her doctor said, "You're not in labor, just go home." But she knew, she had a feeling that she was going to have me, and she ended up being right, which always believe women, right, about their own bodies. And she refused to go. She stayed in the hospital, and as I said, she ended up giving birth. But imagine the stress that created. She's being told to go home, which would be another hour or so home, when she knew that she was in labor. So just even stories like that, moments like that, can kind of give us an idea to what was going on when we were in utero, which we know now highly affects our emotions today. So as I said, in utero, that's the first way that we're able to learn before our brain and our head forms. So our guts hold memories, and not just memories, they hold how we feel about those memories, which is really important. So the gut brain, which we'll get into a little bit in a minute too, but for now we'll just call it the gut brain, contains 90% of the same neurotransmitters that are found in the head. 90%. So that's why they call it our second brain. I like to think it's kind of our first brain, right? First brain, second brain. And these can also mirror symptoms of PTSD, the neurotransmitters. So that's really important. It really tells us how much our guts really impact how we handle stress, how we think about stress, and again, traumatic situations. So I think it's safe to say that what happens to us and how we feel about it resides not only in the body, but specifically in the gut. And that's huge. It makes so much sense, right? I mean, maybe you might have a light bulb going off right now, like, no wonder I've had such digestive problems my whole life. This makes so much sense. Or maybe not even your whole life. I feel like my own personal digestive issues have kind of gone and left. They'll come back. And when I look at it, I can really see how they've coincided with some very difficult moments in my life. So it might be interesting to think about that, again, in a safe space, so that you don't re-traumatize yourself. Perhaps with a therapist or coach, it's beneficial to go back and look at these things and see their impact on your digestive system. Okay, so the gut brain is called the enteric nervous system. It's its own